Welcome to Politics as Usual, episode 38. Oh shit, I forgot to pull up Twitch. I don't know who the fuck is born 38 in the sporting event, so I can't even.
Shout out to Ruben Drones.
Yeah.
Oh right,
yeah.
Ruben Drones. Yeah, him. Shouts to him.
By the way, I am the master of obscure football players, so that's what I'm here for. That's what I bring to this podcast.
Either you or Ryan. My brother is not here. He's on his way home, so he'll be hopping on shortly. But with this is Joe Code, special guest coming in. So as Ron could put it, I could be publicly shamed.
You deserve to be.
For there's a lot of the reasons I should be publicly shamed, but this isn't one of them. But so today we're going to discuss. We're going to drag our feet a little bit getting into this, so we can get my brother on because he's of the Phoenix Brothers. He is the Outkast aficionado of us. But me and Ronnie are here. We're gonna get into Stankonia being 1 year shy of being able to legally drink here in a moment. I guess first we could talk about what got my Twitter account suspended.
Let's talk about that.
I'm still mad about that, by the way. Got me the hell up out the paint. But yesterday, Lil Kunchi decided that he was going to take a picture with and endorse Mr. Cheeto Dust himself. I expressed my opinion on that. Obviously, Twitter did not agree with my opinion, even though I didn't say anything remotely crazy, and my account's private. So one of you motherfuckers that follow me hated when I find out who it is.
Yeah, when you told me what got you suspended, I was surprised. I was like, "That's it."
Yeah, all I said was because WAP said, our boy Courtney Hendricks said, somebody asked what black rappers aren't gonna embarrass us, and he was like, those conscious cats, and I said, nah, them niggas be cooning too. That's it. That's literally it. I didn't insult nobody. I mean, I kind of did, but I didn't lie. Like, all I said was conscious rappers be cooning too. Look at Killer Mike. He's quote unquote conscious.
Yeah, Jack just saw that. He was like, nah, man, you're not going to come from Jeru to Damager like this. We got to get you out of here, man. Like, we got to get you out of here. Nah. You are not going to come from the
pork chop serum. We're not coming for the pork chop serum. I need to find that video again, by the way, so I can start using it. But so I got suspended because I called, and I said mad worse shit about Wayne yesterday, but I got suspended for that. Like it's messed up because at first they told me like, oh, you can still browse Twitter, you just can't tweet for 12 hours or whatever. So fine. I couldn't even log into my Twitter. Like every time I went to go pull tweets up, it said your account is restricted until this for 5 more hours. So I was like, fuck it, I just made a new account. So yeah, whichever one of y'all hated on me, fuck y'all. But it wasn't surprising to me because Wayne been saying bullshit like this for like the last decade.
He has, yeah.
Let him slide.
Didn't he say that like he didn't have a problem with police because a police officer saved his life?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and I mean, yeah, that's cool. Like he saved his life, but that doesn't mean that's not happening to other people.
I don't have a problem with the police officer because one did their job, and this one also happens to have a record of abuse against black people in New Orleans.
Right, and because of that, he said because this police saved my life by simply doing their job, I don't agree with Black Lives Matter, which is pretty telling because Black Lives Matter is, in direct competition with supporting the police. Are you saying the quiet part out loud here, or
yeah? What I loved about it was the fact that everybody finally started telling the truth about Lil Wayne, which is that he's been trash for over a decade at this point.
I was like, yes, come with it. Keep it coming.
This reminded me of when folks finally started telling the truth about The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises. Like, not my truth, because I hate on those movies a little too much, but the truth. And I love it because I've been on the Lil Wayne has been trash for a long time, but finally people were like, so can we admit that his music didn't age well? And I was like, it's not that it didn't age well. The shit was trash back then.
Yeah.
You just liked it because you used to listen to it before you went out to the club.
Yeah, Carter 3 was not hitting back then. It was not.
No, that shit was ass back then. This shit was cheeks. No Ceilings was not that great. Like,
whoa.
No, Ronnie, it wasn't. It wasn't.
I would say
Joe, come on. Joe, come on. Help me out here.
I would say the last time I was amused by Wayne rapping was one of the droughts or the like Dedication 2, maybe even maybe not so much Dedication 3, but Dedication 2 for sure. Like I cleaned out all my physical CDs in the last like year or so because like I don't use them. I use Bluetooth now, and I held on to just a select few, like Thug Motivation 101, the Young Dro's first album, like a couple of Jay-Z albums, and Dedication 2. Like I have like an actual physical copy of Dedication 2. I was like, well, I'm gonna hold on to this because I remember really enjoying this album. But ever since then, I don't know.
Dedication 2 was dope, but when I listened to Dedication 2, and my brother can vouch for this, I listened to it and said, he's starting to fall off. It was slight, but it was like when you notice a receiver lose a step, when suddenly they can't get to that overthrown ball, or suddenly, you know, Allen Iverson couldn't just blow by motherfuckers anymore. Like it was kind of like that, like subtle, but it's there. Or when Drew Brees suddenly can't throw past 15, like it was one of those type things, like, oh, I see that. The zip ain't on the ball no more. So Ron, no ceilings was trash. It wasn't trash, but it wasn't good. It's not what people hype it up.
Nah,
it's not.
Absolutely not.
I'm gonna go back and listen to that if I can this weekend. If I can stomach not getting a headache, and I'm gonna count how many times he said, "I go insert the name of a legume here." On that, I go planters. I go macadamia. He was lazy as shit. Y'all just like it because he rapped over Swag Surf. Like seriously.
I swear.
Because when the shit got released on streaming platforms, everybody was like, I don't remember. It must be the song that's missing. It was still like 12 of the original tracks on there, and nobody fucked with it.
We're missing though, man. Come on.
But if you can put 12 songs of a project up and nobody like it, that means it wasn't that good to begin with.
I will say it was very much a moment because much like Peanut Butter and Jelly, No Ceilings went together with Four Loko, so it was very much a moment in people's lives. So I will say that you had to be there, I guess.
Okay, so there were 21 tracks on No Ceilings. Over half of them made it to streaming sites, and people was like, "It's not the same." You mean to tell me those 9 tracks were that damn good, or was it not that good?
They took the project over the top.
No, it's essentially like when you go back and listen to like snap music and stuff like that. Like in the moment you're like, wow, this was like, you know, I was in college when, you know, D4L was dropping and like the whole like snap your fingers type stuff was happening. And, you know, I was like all about it because I was 19 going to parties, you know, hanging out, getting drunk. And, you know, I can't go back and listen to that stuff today. You just cannot.
Yeah, shout out to Chuck. Yeah, what's up, Chuck?
Oh, Chuck's in here. What's going on, man? Oh, sorry, I was looking up the. All right, so let me pull up this track list compared to, and Swag Surf was actually on it, and that's the one that people love. So what was missing from this shit? Ice Cream wasn't on there.
I mean, I could do without that one. So
DOA wasn't on there. Wasted made it. Shoes made it. Breakup made it. Band made it. Like it's like 2 of the skits ain't on there. Okay, so 2 of the skits, 3 of the skits, and 6 other songs wasn't on there. And we gonna act like those 6 songs had that much of an impact?
They were.
Was it?
They brought continuity.
Shut up, bro.
Was it you, AJ, yesterday that said that we let Wayne like doing some lighter flicks at the beginning of a track, like fool us all?
Like
hey, I ain't gonna lie. Whenever you heard that lighter flick, you're like, yeah.
Like it's cool.
Fireman coming.
You used to listen to that before you went to Martinis or whatever club was popping in your city. You was drinking cheap liquor because we used to early.
You used to listen to the lighter flicks.
Yes, you did. Yes, you used to get hyped when that lighter flick came on. Yes, you did. Like that. It's cool because like, but we got to stop. Like my main beef with Wayne post Carter 2 has basically been we gotta stop acting like because y'all like this nigga, this shit is good. And again, that's why I say I hold him responsible for the state of hip hop today, but that's a whole other conversation.
But no, you right, keeping it real. I spent this entire time trolling, but no, you right.
Oh, I know. I know. Like Nigga, like someone from the Barbershop podcast, I'm gonna just assume it was Robert, was like, hey, nah, you take that back. I was like, no, nigga, just because you used to listen to that before you went and picked up Loose Women does not mean the shit was good. Because I think Patrick said this, or he quoted it from somebody, where they said, you love the music most from the time in your life when you was getting the most pussy. And that's true. Like people,
who am I to argue?
People hold a fondness for the music they was listening to when they was having the most fun in life, which for a lot of young men translates to getting drunk and fucking random women. And who am I to argue with that logic? Chuck said martinis. Wow, yeah, exactly. Like,
yeah, shout out to the choir stands. Yeah,
like that's real shit. Like a lot of people, but we gotta going back. It wasn't good. Like for you to say Wayne's music didn't age good, Joe was the first person who was like, it wasn't good. I was like, thank you. And then other people started piling on. Yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't. And I'm like, yes, finally. The shit I've been saying for the last decade is people are finally getting.
Well, that's the thing is like the internet loves to retcon stuff and make us all think that it was like a lot bigger than it really was. And like, yeah, Wayne was a big artist back then, and he was also like the most popular artist back then at the same time. But it's like his music wasn't good. It's like, I don't know who I could compare it to today because like, you know, like who?
Drake.
Yeah. Yeah. Because Wayne, like that's the issue with Drake right now is that he's just stuck in this rut of making the same type of music for the last 4, 5, 6 years. And Wayne got to that point after about Dedication 2 going into like Carter 3.
Yeah. And it's like, if you, so the time has to align perfectly. So if you like, for instance, if you say it, like I'm the best rapper or I'm the top of the game, right at the height of your popularity, people are going to believe it. And much like AJ when he said he heard what'd you say you heard? And he was like, as a rap for Drake, for one, you said Drought 2, right?
Dedication 2. And it wasn't that it was a rap. It was, he's slipping. He's not.
Yeah. And to me, that was like nothing was the same for me because I heard that. I was like, okay, this album is cool, but you're never gonna get another good Drake album after this. So yeah, it's similar. He says, which album from Wayne are we saying?
I was talking about No Feelings. What's up, Fee? Welcome, Fee, in for off his hiatus.
But you know it did age well.
Good people.
What album aged well, AJ?
Stankonia. Fee, you got anything to say on the Wayne thing before we exit it?
About him, co-signing Donald Trump?
We was just talking about how we transitioned into how people were saying his music aged badly. It's like, nah, it didn't age badly. The shit just wasn't that good. Y'all was just blinded by the fact that it was popular and you was getting drunk and getting pussy back.
Man, Wayne has moments where he still like can show that he can rap, but I think his biggest downfall and a lot of hip hop's biggest downfall is fucking Jay-Z coming out saying that he don't use a pen. Because you can tell when somebody writes with a pen and when they're just punching in. And like Wayne, like if you ever listen to the Squad Up mixtapes and like Carter 1, Wayne raps different than he does on Carter 2 and beyond. Like it's just different. And Carter 2, he's punching in, he's not writing, so he's just sitting there looking up to the fucking sky, thinking of all these dumbass punchlines. So his music been bad for a while, like especially album wise. Like the Carter 3, I would roll weed on the Carter 3. Like that's how I threw it out. I threw it out my window in Japan. I frisbeed that shit on the interstate in Japan. Like that's how bad the Carter 3 was. Like a dude was gonna fight me in the bar because I was drunk and told him that shit is ass. Like no, it gets no play over here.
I'm one of the few niggas who can do the Jay-Z thing and actually be good. Y'all can't do that. Yes, I'm patting myself on the back.
It's okay to it's okay to write raps, man. Like,
yeah, it is.
It's okay. Like your bars are gonna be much better. Your transitions are gonna be. You're gonna just be more technically sound when you're putting the pen to the pad, man. Like, I think that was his biggest problem.
Yeah, and as I always tell people, it ain't that Jay-Z was freestyling. He memorized the shit in his head. That's all it was. So when he's saying I don't write, he's literally saying I don't write this down. Not that I don't write my music, because he sits there and he thinks of the rapping. I do the exact same thing. It's a skill. Yes, it requires a lot of memorization, but yeah, y'all niggas, y'all fuck that all up.
Look, just because I can do an equation in my head doesn't mean everybody needs to do it. So
right, like sometimes you need to show your work. Like everybody, like I understand. Like I used to hate when teachers would be like, "How'd you come up with this?" and I couldn't explain it to them. I was like, "Yo, my brain did the work. This is the answer is correct." And they'd be like, "Well, you didn't show your work." And I'm like, "Yo, that applies to them 27 motherfuckers back there, not me. I shouldn't have to do this." But I understand why the teacher did that because you can't just make exceptions for motherfuckers. Because
like we're
and then they do it.
We're not all Goodwill Hunting. All right.
Right. Right. Like AJ sweeping in the hallway, he just saw the geometrical proof.
I definitely wouldn't be sweeping. I would have just been reminiscing while someone else was sweeping, as my brother would tell you.
Yeah, Chuck says Card 3 is what I thought we were following Willing down into the dirt because I could not stand how much people hyped it, especially coming off 1 and 2. Yeah, man.
Carter 3 was the beginning of the end.
So funny story. Carter 3 actually launched my blog life because I put out a review, and to be honest, it was like you remember Facebook Notes, right?
Yep.
So I put out a Facebook note, and it was like the first review I ever did, and so yeah, I put out a Facebook note, and I thought it was like a very honest like review, and all of a sudden like I get like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of notifications because if you're plugged in at UA, then once somebody shares it, like it's just gonna blow up, and everybody was commenting on it, and then somebody was like, "Yeah, man, you should just start your own blog." So that's kind of the genesis of me becoming like a blogger during that era because I was like, "Yeah, man, this is actually we shouldn't accept." Basically, that was the basis of this. I was like, "We shouldn't accept this from Lil Wayne if he calls himself the best rapper alive."
Ding, ding, ding. What was you finna say, P?
Like I think the Carter 3 conceptually it could have been a good album. I just think the way the concepts were delivered is trash. Like Dr. Carter, the trash song. E.T. Phone Home, that is a terrible song. Not to mention he was getting washed by everybody on there feature wise. Like I like Dr. Carter, that's cool. Like some of like the concept behind it, like the thought behind it is cool, but the delivery is terrible. The Carter 3 album we should have got was the one that leaked. That was much better. The Carter 3 Sessions or whichever mixtape version, that was a much better album, and it was a much better sounding hip hop album than the Carter 3. Carter 3 is terrible. Easily the worst Carter out of all 5 of them or 6 of them. 5.
I mean, 6 if you include Young Thug. But as Ron was saying, an album that didn't age poorly, which I'm about to be shamed for, according to Ron.
Yeah. So what you do now, you pick up your stone and you toss it at AJ because he did not grow up an Outkast fan.
But
AJ, it's only right that you give your thoughts on Stankonia first.
Stankonia is a futuristic sounding album. It was when it dropped. It is now. Like there's shit on Bombs Over Baghdad that hasn't been replicated to this date. Like those cats were in a fucking zone making that album. The singles are huge. I mean, I don't have anything bad to say about the album. I wasn't listening to Outkast in the year 2000.
Okay, I can back off because I thought I was prepping for you. It's like I mean it's a 40-degree day, and I was
no. That's
okay.
It's a classic. Like the shit they did musically on there. Like I feel like that's kind of their apex of what they were doing musically, song making, their rapping ability, like all that shit. It's a futuristic sounding album. I just did not. In 2000 I was listening to Eminem and the Chronic 2001 and shit like that. Like that's what I was listening to. I wasn't listening to that. He was listening to Outkast.
I grew up a Chuck said I grew up a Cast stand, but I didn't even rock with Stankonia when it dropped. That's
cast your stones at him, not me.
Okay, we go. Because for me, like, and I, like I said, I am from the South. I've lived in the South my entire life. So, my favorite Outkast album, because they're like my two babies. I can't choose between one. ATLiens and Aquemini. Like on either day is like 1A, 1B. I can't choose between it. But I've always said Stankonia is the most Outkast album. The singles are huge. The album cuts are amazing. And it's like you get that futuristic sound mixed in with the psychedelic and the funk, but it's like blended just right. There's some, I will say there's some stuff on Aquemini where I'd be like, okay, this, like, Equimini, it isn't really palatable if you're like not a southerner, or same with ATLians. But to me, I feel like Stankonia is the best version of Outkast we received, because it's like they got their formula just right. And also on this, like for people who really underrate Outkast, I want to tell these people that they produced, like Big Boy and Andre, that is, along with Mr. DJ, they produced like 80% of this album themselves. So on top of creating like this, well, on top of like just rapping incredibly, they also created this like crazy sound too. So yeah, Stankonia is like the highest like peak of like Outkast to me.
It's like if Outkast made their version of a pop album.
Exactly. But like it loses no integrity though. It's like,
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I mean, I remember hearing like Miss Jackson and So Fresh So Clean, but like I wasn't into Outkast at that time just because I was from the Midwest. So like once I got into college and started doing more research on stuff, like I went back and I listened to this album. I think this was the first Outkast album that I listened to that wasn't speaker box level below, excuse me. And I just remember playing all the way through, and I was just like, it just kept building. Like every song just kept building on top of each other until you get Bombs Over Baghdad. And then that's when it starts kind of going back down a little bit. You know, not in terms of like lyrical content or like production or anything. It's just like the apex rising, and then it has to fall back down to get to the end of it. But yeah, like this album is just, I mean, it's an amazing album.
So yeah, like I tell AJ all the time, like I'm a stickler for like sequencing albums. And Joe, you raised a good point. Bombs Over Baghdad is track number 11. Now, in the middle of a 20-something track album, you put a song that's your lead single, that's 155 beats per minute, that ends with a 3-minute electronic gospel breakdown in the middle of your album. And on either sides of that, you have a song that's basically about sex, I Call Before I Come, and then Explosion on the other side of that. So yeah, like you said, it like rises to B.O.B. and then it like kind of like tapers off, but not like in quality, but it just tapers off in a good way. So I think since they were like more hands-on on this album, because I will say, even though I love ATLians and Equimini, I do feel like sequence-wise, like those albums are kind of like lopsided. Like they're classics and they're good all the way through, because like I said, they're my favorite Outkast albums. But like sequence-wise, like I feel like Stankonia is like the best Outkast experience.
Yeah, because ATLians is heavy in the front with like the sequencing, and then it kind of tapers off towards the end. Yeah.
Go ahead, Pete.
No, I was gonna say the same. Like ATLians, I think is like very much so front heavy. Like and not to say that it's lacking, but I just think the front part of the CD of ATLians is better. Whereas with Stankonia, I actually think past B.O.B. Beyond, I actually think the back half of the album is better than the first half of the album. Like, and that's not saying much, because the first album is good, but I just think that once you get past B.O.B., like honestly, maybe the only song that I might skip is Toilet Tisha, just because I have to be in a mood to think about it. But I think the back half of the album is wonderful. And I also will say that this album is kind of like, you can kind of see where Andre and Big Boy, like you can kind of see them starting to go their separate ways, because there's a few songs on here where Andre doesn't even rap, and it's just Big Boy rapping with the Goody Mob or members of the Dungeon family, and you can see Andre like messing with his sound a little bit more, like expanding on it, because he does a lot of singing and like changing his voice, kind of like how Young Thug does, like on the back half of this album.
So yeah, let's get into the back half of this album. I'm gonna read off everything after B.O.B. Explosion featuring Be Real, which has like the best hook of the album, like We Just Can't Be Amazed, even if you pull the pin from your hand grenade. It's just Witch Doctor repeating that, and that's like the coolest like hook to me. So we have Good Hair interlude, We Love These Hoes, Humble Mumble, then Drinking Again, then it's just Question Mark. That's the Andre 3000 track. Red Velvet, which is for my money the best Outkast album cut. Like Red Velvet is such a good song. Cruising in ATL, which is like a funny skit. Like my brother and I used to Go around cruising in the AT. Yeah, but anyway, gangster shit. Toilet Tissue, like Fee said, Toilet Tissue is a good song, but it's so sad. You got to be in a a mood to listen to it. And then Salon Beautiful, Prenup, and then Stankonia, Stank Love. So yeah, that's the back half of the album, man.
And that's where it starts picking up is the where you get to like the Andre song and then Red Velvet, and that's where it starts kind of like flowing.
Gangsta shit, like
yeah, Andre showed his ass on gangster shit. Like I listened to that today, and that like every time I listen to that verse, I'm like this
I was listening to it on the way home, and I got to his verse, and I was like, because I was waiting for him to start that singing part. Like, do you realize? I was like, man, I had to rewind his verse again. Also, that song made me go buy a Slim Calhoun album.
Yes,
because I was just like,
hey, I had a Slim Calhoun album too. It only had like 5 tracks on it, but I still bought it.
That's like where somebody
wasn't it Servo.
Listen to Mr. Servo.
That's what I was like when I heard Donna say that on the Clubhouse album while I got my Servo, listening to Mr. Servo. I was like, wait a minute. I ain't heard that name in forever. When did you buy a Slim Calhoun album? Where was I?
I bought it in high school. It didn't get much play, so
because
I think he was coming out around the time.
He used to make me listen to whatever he was listening to in the car, and I ain't never heard no damn Slim Calhoun.
I mean, for good reason.
I bought it, put it in, and it didn't get in no more after that.
See, your mind blocks out trauma like that, so you just don't remember it.
See, and kids today got it easy because that was back like we ain't get like half the album in singles or get to go nitpick on stream. Like you actually had to go take the plunge and buy an album and hope, unless you had one of them CDE joints where you can listen to the whole album in the headphones. But we used to have to I bought a fucking Gin album off of some shit like that one time, and I regret that shit. To this day.
Oh, the what was it? The Rest is History?
No, the second one, the Propaganda.
Why?
Oh,
yeah. I was so mad about. I was like, God damn it!
I got tricked by Murphy Lee. I got tricked by Joel Santana. Man. I got tricked by Chingy. I got like all that collection that I was telling you that I gave away. A lot of those albums were like, oh man, like that had like 1 or 2 songs on it. I was like, oh man, I got to go get that album. And yeah, that's basically what I gave away.
Because this is back in the day. This is back in the day where they used to drop a fire single the next month the album dropping. And you're like, oh man, this album will be fire.
And then they had the formula. They give you the club hit. Then they turn around and give you the yes,
exactly.
The second album. Then they give you the R&B chick joint, and you be like, all right, yeah, we in there. Then you get the album. It's like, whoo, this was a waste of $10. Hey, Murphy Lee might have been one of the biggest liars in hip hop.
Oh yeah.
We all thought Murphy Lee was next.
Cause people like Murphy Lee the one. He gonna be better than Nelly.
You know, Eric.
This is a good one. This is a good one because Lil Scrappy dropped that. I think the name of the mixtape was like Full Metal Jacket or something when he joined.
Yeah,
that mixtape was hard. And then I was like, man, this Scrappy.
What was that song that was on there? He had a song. It was the song that was featuring Young Buck. It was about some. Was it Money in the Bank?
Yes.
Yeah.
When it was G.
I heard Money in the Bank. I was like, let me go buy this right now. And that album was butt cheeks.
Hey Chuck, I'm ashamed of that too, man. I don't know what the fuck I was doing, but I was like in like FYE or some shit in the Dayton Mall, and I saw Jen the MC, the Propaganda. Oh, he's called himself the MC. All right, this shit gotta be fire. He at least
because he got himself the MC.
But you got to understand at that time that like that nigga was coming off of smoking people on Smack DVD. Then he went on 106 in Park and he was smoking people. So I could kind of understand. And he was with Rough Riders too. Rough Riders was big at the time too.
No, the second album he wasn't with Rough Riders no more. He went indie.
Oh well, you had no business buying that. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, this man was in a 720 deal and you bought his album. Like Why did you do that?
That album, hey, nigga, you got tricked by the May 2nd album, so I don't want to hear it. Not the second album, the Welcome Back.
Hey, bro, I still listen to that album. I like that album.
I hated that fucking album.
I just like it for like certain people I like for the chick songs, like the Mason chick songs on there. I fuck with those chick songs. The same with Murphy Lee, like when the Murphy Lee
album, come on, Chuck.
No, wasn't it a Serious Jones battle?
Yeah, Serious Jones,
right? Yeah.
That man was crying.
Oh, speaking of, he's in jail. He got sentenced to 3 years for pimping in California.
Serious Jones?
Yes. He just got sentenced yesterday.
Serious Jones? Oh man.
Yeah, I'm only laughing because it's Serious Jones. Like what? I never heard of him to even allude to anything pimping, but I don't listen to a lot of Serious Jones shit. Speaking of, Tay Rock and Murder Mook tomorrow on Caffeine for URL. If you are remotely into battle rap, check that out. It's free.
Okay.
Assuming the app ain't fucking up. Should be a good battle. But yeah, so who are some of the biggest liars in hip hop history if we all Stankonia? Are we all Stankonia?
Before we get into that, just out of curiosity, because I do want to answer that. Where do we place this in Outkast thing? I was about to say Stankogra. I mean discography. Where do you rank? Matter of fact, like just list like your Outkast albums.
For me, it's 1A, 1B for ATLiens, Equimini. But I think a lot, like back in the day, I used to go ATLiens, Equimini, but I think the older I get, the more I appreciate Equimini. And then I think it's Stankonia, and then probably Southern Player after that, and then Speaker Box, and then Idlewild.
Okay. Fee, what about you?
Probably for me, it's probably ATLiens, Stankonia, then Equimini, then probably Speaker Box, Southern Playlistic, then Idlewild.
Yeah, we using Stankogra from now. But yeah, for me, like I said, 1A, 1B, and I'm always gonna lean ATLiens more. So ATLiens, Equimini, 1A, 1B, Stankonia 2. Surprise, Speaker Box Love Below 3. Southern Playalistic 4, and then Idlewild 5. But also I want to mention spin Idlewild again, folks, because Idlewild is
it's not bad at all. It's actually a really good CD.
Yeah, Idlewild is Outkast's worst album, but it's still better than most of your favorite artists' best album. So it's just not Outkast quality, but it's actually a really good CD.
This sounds like you're talking about Kingdom Come.
Well, yeah, exactly. Is their Kingdom Come? Yeah, is really their Kingdom Come?
I am a Kingdom Come truther.
Yeah, Adrian, what say you?
I mean, I haven't spun their discography enough to really like give it. What I will say is, of the albums I've listened to, I do like Stankonia the most.
Okay.
I can't get into ranking them because I haven't listened. I've listened to all of them, but I haven't listened to them enough to be like, okay, this one's better than this one, or have a qualified take. I like Stankonia the most, though.
Okay.
Before we hop off that, I did want to say one of my favorite things about Outkast, and I can't remember where I saw this on the internet, but it was a long time ago. But if you listen to their discography from Southern Playlistic through Speaker Box and stuff, you can tell towards the end of the album what direction they're about to go for the next album. Because like at the end of ATLiens, that was the first time I noticed it after I saw it, was the end of ATLiens is kind of like starting to get more guitars and stuff into it, and then that's what you have on Equimini, and then you start getting more high speed production and stuff like that for Stankonia.
Yeah, even from Southern Playalistic, because I think that album ends on the Players Ball reprise, and it goes like and that sounds like a track that could be on ATLiens. So and once again, it's amazing that these dudes made these albums when they were like 18, 21, 24, and 20.
Stankonia is 6 years in. Like they're hitting their prime at 6 years into hip hop, which they're basically 25, 26.
Right. So like I said, let's do a Chuck guy say before we move on. Say don't fight me, but it's ATLiens Equipment. Not speak about. I'm not mad at that. Whoa!
You guys think on your last?
Think on a dead last. Okay.
Also, I would like to say, if you do go back and check out, because Andre 3000, and it's a hot take, but I really think he's the most overrated person in hip hop. Like, he's good, don't get me wrong, but I really think he's overrated. If you actually go back and listen to Outkast from the beginning, and I seen this from, I want to say it was Big Git or Cujo Goody, they was on a podcast. Big Boy carries them like maybe the first 2.5, 3 albums. Like, Big Boy is carrying Outkast, allowing Andre 3000 to grow into the person that you come to love by the time Stankonia get here. So, oh man, I think we need to, like, as a consensus in hip hop, knock Andre down a few notches and lift Big Boy up a few notches, because there is no Andre without Big Boy carrying him those first few albums. And if you go back and listen to it, you will see Big Boy is literally carrying the lion's share and load on these first couple albums.
Now, I will say, I don't think 3 Stacks is the most overrated. I think we spoke about the most overrated on the first half of this, because people treat Wayne like he's a top 10 MC of all time, and I'm just like, whoa.
No, like much to Pete point. I think because he's because Big Boy is next to Andre, he's severely underrated, and Andre gets overrated. And much like you said, like if you listen to like early Outkast, like I feel like 3 Stacks was the one finding his footing, whereas Big Boy was like already a seasoned MC. Like, he was on Kilo Ali tracks and stuff, like solo. But like if you listen to ATLs and stuff like Over the Woods, like those deep album cuts, like Big Boy was really rapping back then. Like and he's always good, but it's just that I think once Andre 3000 got into like his artistry, like, and decided what type of artist he wanted to be, like he just added a different layer, and people like overrate him because he has another. Okay, but he has another gear than Big Boy does, but that doesn't mean he's necessarily better.
Well, and that might be a duo's problem, because I think we do that with UGK, because like everybody talks about Pimp, like everybody loves Pimp, but Bun is no slouch, and the same thing with Clips. Like, you know, we all talk about Pusha, but Malice carried a lot of those album cuts.
Yeah, even
like I think that's a duo issue.
Yeah, even Push will tell you Malice.
I just think it's because like on the like just because musically the things that Andre 3000 can do, but honestly, Big Boy is the one structuring these songs and putting these hooks together on the first few albums. Well, Andre is rapping, and he's rapping at an exceptionally high level, but that doesn't mean Big Boy is not rapping at a high level. Big Boy is doing more work, so he has to keep it simplistic because he's carrying the load and the lion's share of the albums. Like, if I'm doing more work than you, you have more time to be intricate and say these superficial, deep things. Because, like if you just peel apart what Andre's saying, it's deep, but it ain't that deep. It's kind of like how J. Cole is. Like, I feel like it's kind of like it's clever. The way he puts his words together is great, but I just don't.
No, it's not that I'm disagreeing. I'm hearing it, and I'm like, oh, the reactions that people are gonna have. I'm not disagreeing.
Oh, people are gonna be mad. People are gonna be mad, but it's true. Like I'm just because I was listening to Stankonia, I'm like, yeah, Andre really rapping. I'm ATL is my favorite album. I'm like, once I heard them say that, I'm like, Big Boy was definitely Big Boy. Appreciate Big Boy because he is why Andre is where he is. He's the reason you can love Andre 3000, and the reason Andre 3000 is where he is because of Big Boy taking a step back to do everything.
Big Boy's the offensive line.
Exactly.
He's the fullback. He's Moose Johnston springing Emmitt Smith for the big run. And we did this on our most overrated, underrated MCs podcast a few years back. Like, I think Big Boy is the most underrated rapper of all time. Like, full stop. Like, to go like to make a little brother reference, people treat him like he's Big Pooh, and he's not. And that's not saying anything bad about Big Pooh. But when you listen to Big Pooh and Fonte rap, there's a clear difference in the caliber of MCs that they are. Whereas with Andre and Big Boy, it's not that steep of a difference if you feel like there's a difference at all. And yeah, like I feel what Fee's saying. I also feel what Chuck's saying. Like I think it's a both thing. Like I don't think Andre 3000 is the most overrated cat ever, but I do think he's overrated. And I think Big Boy is the most underrated rapper ever. Like I don't feel like there's a rapper anywhere that can be is remotely as criminally underrated as Big Boy is, because people just act like he can't rap at all.
Well, I think I think part of it too is that like when you listen to songs like you know, when you go back and you listen to like a So Fresh and So Clean or Miss Jackson, like Andre's rapping like way slower than Big Boy. Big Boy's like running around in the pocket, and you know, he's scrambling around in there and he's saying a bunch of good stuff, but it's hard for a general audience to keep up with that because they're not acquainted with Big Boy rapping like that.
Like even look at on oh my bad.
No,
international like international players anthem. Like there was a thing before, like which verse would you throw off, and people are like throwing Big Boy's verse off, and I'm like, like are you actually listening to what he's saying? Like even on Miss Jackson, like he's talking about infidelity, the way people's like the way your mother-in-law would treat you. Like Andre 3000's verse is cool because he's singing, and I think that's what people are drawn to, the melodies. But if you actually like listen to what Big Boy's saying, like Big Boy's verses on those two songs are a little bit deeper than what Andre 3000 is saying. And as far as lyricism, I think that's what you want. So he definitely deserves more credit.
Also, let me get this off real quick. Like every time Outkast is brought up, people throw out comparisons as to like who they think is the best duo. They toss out things like Mobb Deep, toss out things like Clips. I could go on. Outkast is just on another planet for a bad pun, you know, because there's no other duo. And you might toss a name out, and I'm gonna say you're absolutely wrong. There's no other duo that could have done a Speaker Box and Love Below. 2 albums that are great on their own right. Like, because to me, like any other duo you name, there's one part that's clearly better than the other. Not saying that the other half is bad, but there's one part that's clearly better than the other. Like, you know, Pusha T, Malice, you know, Havoc, Prodigy. Like there's one part that's clearly better than the other. But to me, like Outkast is like perfect balance. It's like perfectly balanced.
I'm gonna say I think the Clips could have done it because Pusha and Malice are closer than those other duos. I
will say this: I love Malice, but Malice is I feel like Malice is a good and once again, no disrespect to him because I think Malice is amazing. I actually think he carried Push on their first album, but Malice is like your 6th man of the year. He's like good, but he's not the star. But there's no other duo that could have made a Speaker Box and Love Below. And to me, so basically that ties into my larger point, which is Outkast is inseparable to me. So when people is like, oh, well, where do you rank Big Boy? Where do you rank Andre 3000? It's like I can't separate them. So when I'm putting like my top acts of like the South and like just hip hop in general together, I got to say Outkast because to me, like there's no other like group that has that much chemistry that like comes together and like makes like this perfect balance like Outkast. So to me, like Outkast even like goes beyond like just the boundaries of hip hop, and they're like one of just the greatest groups, period. Like I seriously think Outkast has contributed that much to music where I could say they're one of the greatest groups of all time.
Yeah, because like, look, I love UGK. Like I love listening to Pimp a Bun go back and forth, and pound for pound, Murder is one of the best hip hop songs ever. But all of UGK albums sound like Southern albums. Outkast was able to do something that sounded like we're still catching up to it twice.
Yeah, because as I was listening to Stankonia today, I was like, man, there's no way this album came out in 2000. No way. It still sounds fresh. Like nothing on this album sounds dated, and it's 20 years old.
Yeah. Well, that's a testament to production too, because my wife and I were talking about this. I don't know, maybe a month or two ago, and like we were listening to like songs produced by the Neptunes, and the Neptunes are the same way. Like, which sounds like we're still trying to catch up to what that sound is like, because like you go back and listen to stuff like that, and it still like hits the same way it did 20 years ago.
And like as much as people like give love to Pharrell is one of the greatest producers of all time. There are a difference between Pharrell produced tracks
Yep.
Neptunes produce tracks. Like Pharrell is the drummer. He's the one who comes up with the melodies and all that. But Chad goes in and sequences everything and makes sure that shit sounds tight and gives the touch that Pharrell just doesn't put on his solo stuff. And that's not a knock on Pharrell, because you know a Pharrell beat, even if you don't know a Pharrell beat.
Yeah, like, even Pharrell said, like, without Chad, you wouldn't get like those big, heavy, groovy bass lines. Like, so Chad brings put some respect on my man Chad Hugo.
Yeah, it's just the fact that he's the quiet one who likes to stay out of the limelight, and Pharrell had no issue stepping into the limelight, and that is kind of like what separated them. But like, we can't. Super Thug steal my shit. Like,
let me get to something. Let me get into like.
Are you about to do the Michael Jackson story?
No. I recently found out why Super Thug has the hook that it does, because Nori, being the trash rapper that he is, he counts bars by saying what, and then Pharrell like came into the studio, he was like, nah man, keep that, that's the hook. So what
I learned about this too.
What and then somebody just harmonizing what behind that.
That's so bad, man.
Hey, so when Super Thug came out, Michael Jackson wanted a beat by the Neptunes, and so he like hit him up, was like, "Hey, send me over some shit." And so Pharrell starts sending him over this beautiful sounding R&B shit, and he said Mike called him and said, "Nah, nigga, I want that hard shit like Super Thug."
Imagine Michael Super Thug, man.
And like the funny thing is, you know, people have long said, like, you know, Mike used to do the "hey guys," you know, the little light voice, but they said like when like the cameras were off, like Mike sounded like a straight up nigga. So can you just imagine getting a phone call, somebody tell you it was Michael Jackson?
Dog,
like, what the fuck is this? I wanted that hard shit. You like, hey Mike, hold on.
Dog, imagine Mike on Rock and Roll by Family, man.
Like, they probably sent him over some of the most beautiful melodic shit ever, and Mike was like, "Nigga, what? No,
nah, give me that keys open doors. I need that.
Bruh.
Oh shit!
Can you imagine Mike on Chinese New Year, bruh? Come on, man. Michael on Hell Have No Fury on the whole CD. Come on, man.
Mike on Grinding, like imagine what the fuck Mike would have did on Grinding.
on Mike on Mr. Me Too. Come on, man.
Oh shit. Yeah, Kyle. Mike was gangster. Mike. They said Mike.
No, Mike really was. Yeah,
they said Mike really used to bring out.
The Beatles story. I'm so happy I know that now. I'm so happy I know that.
Catalog for Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
The very next day.
Yeah. He was like, "Oh, thank you." I was, okay.
Now I own your music.
Kyle said, "Can you picture Mike cussing out?"
Yeah. People don't know about Mike, man. Mike was really with it.
Oh shit. Oh, but yeah, like to go back to your point, yeah, I think you're right. Like, I don't know that there's a duo in hip hop, at least, that could have. I don't even know. I honestly, I can't think of a duo period that could have done that. So yeah, that's a very good point.
Try to picture like Hall and Oates like separating and making like two separate
albums.
Get
out of my head. Get out of my head. I was just thinking about that.
Like, yeah, I'm over here like,
nah.
Like maybe a production rapper duo could have done
like Simon and Garfunkel ain't separating to make two separate albums. Like, nah, it's not happening. Nah.
I mean, we saw. I mean, even go to like just bands. Like, you saw what the fuck happened when Travie McCoy put out an album without Gym Class Heroes.
Yeah, see, like
that was rough.
And that album brought us Tiger, so I'd never forgive him for that. I'll never forgive him.
He featured on Tiger's album years before that. When Tiger.
Okay.
When Tiger was signed to Pete Witt's label, that was when he did that.
Oh yeah. I hated that song.
Yeah, that was that album because they were quote unquote cousins.
Yeah, I hated that.
That album was so bad.
Yeah.
Hey, are we ever going to give Tiger credit for
nope.
Motto? And Drake still
Hey, nah. Tiger get his credit for that. But and what's fucked up is Tiger made that song, and then Drake just kicked him off the song. Like damn, bro.
Drake was
This
in the
was my
studio.
song.
Like,
It sounds
Drake
West
was in the
Coast,
studio.
bro.
Like, hey, just take that nigga shit. I'll do the hook. Just take that nigga verse off.
Now you know he was like, hey, fam, hey, can I hop on this? And he was like, yeah, man, that's cool. Yeah, I got you. And kicked this nigga smooth off, bro. And had him rap the last on his own song.
I never knew this.
Listen to the motto. Not the motto.
The motto. It was Tiger song first. I don't even know. It might have just been. I think it might have been just Drake. It might have been Drake and Tiger song first, and then they added Wayne, and then Tiger's verse was last, and Tiger just got kicked off by the time it went to Drake album.
Like, go back and listen to that, and that you will hear it and be like, damn, this is a Tiger song, because that's his cadence, everything. Like Drake was just like, nope, Shang sung in that.
Because that was the same time Rack City came out.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's about the same song, Rack City, big rap, that monotone, rapid fire kind of thing. Now she want a photo. You already know though. Like every time I hear that, I'm just like, damn, this is a Tiger song.
Okay, yeah.
Drake did that nigga dirty.
Yeah.
Cold game. All right, we doing the biggest. We doing the biggest hip hop liars now. Or are we waiting for that?
No, we could get into it. We could give her a preview, and we could get into it.
All right. Well, or not biggest hip hop liar, but who's like or just a artist that you thought was the one it had next, and you turned out to be sadly mistaken. I'll give you one.
Who that?
He started the starters. Fathered the fathers who fathered.
Fathered the fathers who fathered.
Slaughtered the slaughters and slaughtered the slaughters who slaughtered. I thought the writer of writers was next. I'll admit to this. I had a whole J.R. Writer mixtape. I didn't know J.R. Writer had put out mixtapes, but I found one.
Hey, but that's Cam. That's Cam's marketing skills, because I had several Hell Rel and J.R. Writer songs downloaded to mix CDs. And I bought that first Joel Santana album. And I used to play the hell out of that Joel Santana
album. First Joel Santana album ain't as bad as people. It wasn't good, but it ain't as bad as like.
It had when I went back. Yeah, when I went back to listen to it like as an adult, because I bought that when I was like 16, I think. When I went back to listen to it as an adult, I was like, okay, there's like 4 out of 20 songs on here that are okay.
It was like the song with T.I., the songs he brought from Diplomatic Immunity over, like the song with him and Freeway.
Oh yeah, well, except they added Jim Jones to it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and kicked out Freeway. Ooh man.
So I got 2 to answer your question. I got 2. So the first is like my and he'll probably never claim this, but it's my older brother's fault. There was once a young rapper who was like associated with Wu-Tang, and people were like, oh, he got up next. Shaheem.
Wu-Tang.
Yeah. And then the second one is since we're on Dungeon Family, I bought the Backbone album. I'm still busting like 5 deuce for trade. I'm still busting like 5 deuce for trade.
Hey man.
Hey, 5 deuce for a tray is fire though. 5 deuce for a tray is fire. Nothing else on that album is fire though. It's a terrible album. Ooh. Terrible album.
Don't worry, y'all got one.
Man, it will be anybody from like Ali for the St. Lunatics. I thought he was going when Bugetto come out and Breathe and Stop. Not Breathe and Stop. Breathe In, Breathe Out.
Yeah.
And then he left that off his album.
Yeah, which is wild. But the only reason I bought it because I think if you bought the Ali, then you got money off of Nellyville, and Nelly was like my favorite nigga at the time. Like, I bought an Ali to get money off Nellyville. Yeah. And Nelly bought an Ali. Oh yeah.
No, I would be so mad. They were like, hey, bro, some of your units gonna go towards Nelly album, bro.
I mean, fair though. Like Nelly is the whole reason they gotta. Like, because they put a provision in this deal that was like, hey, if you go gold, then we'll give the Lunatics a deal. And he went gold like day one.
Yeah.
And I know people at the record label was like, God damn it. Why we say gold and not platinum? And an album 8 times platinum, and now it's diamond. So it ain't like it matters. But yeah, there wasn't no stopping that. It was like, yeah, you go. We'll give your boys a record deal.
You know, all right. So I got. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, my other dude was this dude that we used to rap with Currency. His name was Trademark the Skydiver, and then he just
Trademark the Skydiver had some. Yeah, he had some.
Oh no, yeah, like the villain. I fuck with him, but he just stopped making music, and he just came back. Like maybe last year, him, Currency, and Roddy just dropped the album out of nowhere. I'm like, yo, where the fuck you come from? I was looking for you on IG, like on that piff, like to see what happened to you. You just come out of nowhere and drop the album. Okay, like.
So I got 2. I really, for some reason, liked I-20.
Oh no!
Yo, Hennessy and Hydro. I love that song. But 3 6 Mafia tricked me. Okay, so them, and then I really thought that Big Country King was gonna do something.
No, man, no.
We gotta talk about how many artists' careers T.I. just ruined.
Speaking of 3 6 Mafia, Lil White, man, he had "This Is My Smoking Song." Oh my fucking! I love Lil White. I was like, yeah,
job done. Smoke one. Hey, how about in 2014? This promoter that I used to do shows for when I was in a band, he hit me up, was like, "Hey man, why don't you come up to Tennessee, man? Open for Lil White." I was like, "He's still making music?"
Like how dare you even ask me to open for Lil White, man?
Like at that point, I'm like 26, 27 years old. I'm like, I was listening to him in middle school. Like, why would I open for Lil White? I'm probably more popular than he is. Like, and do I want to be in front of a crowd of people that are anxious to see Lil White?
They're anxious to see Lil White. Like they're not gonna listen to a single word you say.
Like you got nothing better to do on a Friday night but come see Lil White rap Smoke song for 45 minutes. What? Why would I do that? That's a waste of my time. Man, it's good exposure. No, it's not.
Like you gonna get a Michelob Ultra bottle thrown at your head if you open for Lil White, man. You don't need to do that.
I was like, what? Whoa, for real? No.
Hey, but you know what's cool is like if you flip this and try to look at people who were in like a rapper's crew that made it out. Really, the one that I can think of that stands out the most is 2 Chainz, because that Titty Boy rebrand is phenomenal.
That's one of the best rebrands of all time.
It was perfect because a lot of people was like, "Man, he got better when he became 2 Chainz." I was like, "No, it's not. You just want you
weren't listening to somebody named Titty Boy."
Right. Because Player Circle made a song with like Fonte, and I always play people that song, and they're like, "What? He was making music?" I was like, "Yes, he was that good back then, but you just don't want to listen to a dude named Titty Boy."
Named Titty Boy, like it had Smino. It happened.
Smino, man, come on, man.
Smino's fire though. Smino's good though.
I'll take y'all word for it.
Smino one of the best rappers. I'm going to like filter in some Smino music, and like I'm gonna be like, "Hey man, listen to damn MC McDodirty new song." And
nigga named MC McDodirty. I'll say some shit like that. Hey, I mean, I guess the most prominent rapper to make it out somebody's crew would be Game, even though he wasn't ever technically G Unit. Although it's weird, they say he wasn't with them, but if you go look at the In the Club video, Game's in the video.
He was.
He's in the video for like a split second while they're like going around the club. You can stop and Game's right there, and it's like, oh, he had been around them for a minute.
Yeah, they said he wasn't part of the group because of like the split, but he was always. They're like, oh, Dre just put him there. Like, nah, he was there the whole time though.
Yeah, I'd have to give Game that one. And is there another one that I can think
Currency? Because he was was a Young Money, No Limit. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm about to say Currency was in No Limit before Young Money.
Hey, Ron, perfect time to bring this up. We was talking about this the other day. So Speed's on here is perfect. Currency holds the crown in New Orleans.
He does.
Louisiana
He does.
Louisiana?
He is the most consistent.
I mean, he is. Oh man, like it has to be a criteria because you just can't be like just crowning niggas like, oh, okay, consistency. Like,
I mean, who would you give it to? Would you give it to Boosie then?
You gonna make all those
no,
Boosie
because
I don't
think Boosie is that consistent, and I don't even know if he's still putting out any music. I don't know, because I would say since Kevin Gates has came on, like Kevin Gates like would be a good contender to go against him for, like, if we're talking about for the whole state of Louisiana, like use like New Orleans, but like Louisiana, like
for Louisiana. All right, so let's take Currency's like albums, not even mixtapes. So this ain't no mixtape.
Pilot Talk.
The Pilot Talk series.
Jet Files, Stoned Immaculate,
Winter
Weekend
Circle.
at
Stoned Immaculate. Yeah, that's what it was.
Weekends at Bernie's. Like let's just stop there. Let's just stop there. That's 6 right there. Let's just stop right there.
Hey man, I've been scrolling for 2 pages and I'm just getting past Currency's album in 2019.
Oh no, he like undisputably the most consistent. I mean, he probably is a king. I give it to him because he still lives in New Orleans. He runs his businesses throughout New Orleans. Like he does a lot, like in the city of New Orleans. So, and he's a millionaire from underground. Like really, I mean, he had a couple major deals, I think, with Warner, but mostly under.
Yeah, Dame
still owe him money for it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I think if you're talking about like somebody that your average rap fan knows of and his track record, like I would have to give it to him.
Mm-hmm.
But I ain't listened to much of Gates, so like I used to work with this dude who used to love Kevin Gates music, and he used to just be in awe over the fact that he was talking about hitting his woman, and I'm just like, dog, why are you okay with listening to this? And so I never listened to it.
See, I just think it's 2 different lanes, because I think Gates's music is a little more personal and it's also melodic, so it's going to catch a lot of people's attention quicker. I think for the most part, Currency's music is pretty superficial. I just labeled it as like lifestyle rap. Like he's just rapping about things that go on in his life, but he's not scratching the surface. He's just like talking about cars, weed, women, like. So I don't know. I mean, I would still give him the king, but I'm biased. But I also like Kevin Gates too, so I wouldn't be mad if somebody said.
To me, Gates never made anything better than Luca Brasi story. Which was like the first thing, and I was like, who is? Because I heard Kevin Gates on like that Pusha T record, like
the Pusha song. That's where I went too.
And I listened to Luca Brasi. I was like, who is this guy? And to me,
I heard him on.
He hasn't made anything good since. On
Starlito, and he had a whole song on Cold Turkey, and I heard him. I was like, who the fuck is this? Spazzing. So I went to listen to him, and I don't know. I think Luca Brasi too is to me that's probably his best work. But I also like By Any Means. Luca Brasi 3 is cool, and then his album Isla was okay. I don't know. Kevin Gates' album sucks. His mixtapes are much better. His albums kind of suck.
Yeah, his album sucks, so that's why he doesn't. Yeah, I got to strike him from the conversation.
So Kyle said Ice Cube is a rapper who made it out of a crew. That's very true.
Yeah. He's a coon, but when it comes to being an MC, I can actually do him. I feel like a lot of people forget Ice Cube is one of those people who has like one of the best 3 album runs ever. So yeah, Ice Cube is like, when it comes to like the top MCs of all time, Ice Cube is up there. So like I say, he might be a coon in other areas of his life, but we'll put some respect on his name in that respect.
Now I'll say like Master P for like what he's done for Louisiana, but like music wise, like his own music.
Like, people aren't going back and listening to Master P outside of New Orleans.
Yeah. Here's a lukewarm take for you though. Master P has the best album ever made by a terrible rapper, and that's Get O.D. Get O.D. is an immaculate album, but
by a terrible rapper.
Yeah.
I'm just crying at the fact that's how you said. Like, I didn't know that's where you was going.
This the thing though. I think there's plenty of terrible rappers who make great albums. Plies first 3, maybe 4. If I look at them, like Plies first 3-4 albums are good. Like they're really good albums. And when Jeezy first came out, Jeezy wasn't that good of a rapper when he first came out. Like right. by the time he got to the recession, he was a much
I was about to
better.
say he
as a
got
rapper,
good on
like-
the reception, but
So
But his
I'll give
with the toast.
you one. Eazy-E.
Yeah,
Eazy-E is one of the worst rappers of all time, like skill wise, but he made some fire music.
yeah, he did.
Like,
Okay, okay.
I mean, the big timers, like the big timers.
oh yeah,
Them niggas,
yeah.
I mean,
them
if it's
niggas,
not
them
for
niggas
fresh,
cannot.
then-
Them niggas cannot rap. Man, I was listening to the number one stunner the other day because I don't know, I don't even know why I was listening to it, and I was just listening to
the beat.
Baby's verse. I was like, yo, but Baby's verses weren't whack on the number one stunner though. Like, and Baby doesn't make bad albums either because of the features. Like, Baby always has the best features and the best beats on Cash Money albums. And
him and
Wayne
Puff
was
are very
prime
similar in that regard. Like him and Puff know how to put
yeah.
together their own albums, even if they ain't good at what the fuck they doing. They gonna make sure their album is good because they know how to put people around them that can do what they supposed to do.
That was speaking of albums that somebody got by. Like my older brother had a friend, and we used to ride with him after school. He bought that Baby album, and he was like, man, it's trash. So every time he took us home, which was like a 15-20 minute trip, he would just have What Happened to That Boy on repeat because nothing else on the album was good.
What was on that album with that? Oh man,
That boy. Oh wow. Yeah, actually, you know what? That might be a good topic to delve into next time. The worst rappers the best albums by terrible rappers.
That's a good topic. That'll be hilarious.
Because I feel like there's a lot of bad rappers that have made some good albums, and that might be worth ranking.
Oh, that was Bird, man. Oh man, that album is terrible. Goodness gracious. Oh my goodness. Why did you buy that?
Hey, also, somebody reminded me, speaking of bad rappers, shouts to Gunna Gunna.
Yo. Hey, one of my favorite verses from him is on No Ceilings, bro. Because it's so terrible. Oh, it's so bad. But I enjoy it every time.
One of my favorite vibes of all time is Electro Lemon doing the Bedrock verse, and he's sitting there, he's like, cause she knows she bad.
Right.
And I got her. The lyrics are written on his head, and he's like, after I got her, he's like, IDK freestyle, and he looks
Grocery bag.
the grocery bag on there, like, cause she knows she bad, and I got her. Grocery bag. I don't know what. That is one of the worst bars of all time.
Oh,
I laugh every time I think about it because that's how that had to go. Like, yeah, because you know she bad, and I got her
grocery bag
right there.
Hey, some of the worst punchlines in hip hop came out of that Young Money camp because Nicki got that I'm a Star Sheriff badge.
Dog, Mac Main,
because I'm a star, no fake banner.
No, Mac Main dropped the most flagrant line on that album that I don't even like for then. Like back then, I don't know how he got away from it. He said, and these are Mac Main's words, not me. He said we take V cards from the retail.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
I remember
In
that.
auto-tune,
Like,
in full auto-tune.
Why did they think that was good?
Then he said, in about 3 years, holla at me, Miley Cyrus. You know how flagrant you got to be to auto-tune, flirt with an underage white girl on a record with one of the biggest rappers at the time. Like, what was wrong with this nigga?
If he made that now, that song would have never came out. They would have.
Nah.
Dog.
Got rid of him with the quick.
So Miley Cyrus was like 16 back then, like 15 or 16 back then.
Yeah, like what was you thinking about? You can't be doing. You a black man in America. Do you know the history of what happens when niggas do shit like that? Like, what is wrong with you? He was trying to have her grocery bag.
Yeah, he was trying to. What does that? I don't even know what that even means. Like, what does that even mean?
Well, all right. Best albums by the worst rappers and some of the worst bars that you have ever heard. Because I feel like that can get interesting. Assuming we don't all die after whatever happens on Tuesday. Speaking of,
I think we'll be back next Friday. Yeah, I think.
Speaking of vote, if do not mail in your vote right now, there's allegedly a video going around of Dade County mailroom where there are just tons of what appear to be ballots just stuffed in the back of some post office.
And I mean it's too late to mail it in now. It's not like it's entirely too late. So just make sure you vote, please.
Yes, vote. I voted 2 weeks ago. Shit was painless. Thankfully, I live in an area where rich white people are right across the railroad track, so I wasn't voter suppressed at all. But vote, get out here, vote. I get stuff from vote.org constantly. They got food trucks ready to go for election day in bigger cities where they know votes are being suppressed. Do what you can, and do not trust anything that you hear on election night, even if it's Joe in a landslide. Don't trust that shit. Not this Joe, but Joe Biden. If we found out Joe Cole was on the landslide,
don't believe anything Joe Cole.
Don't believe that either.
Hey, I mean, listen, there might be some Joe Hova fans out there that was like, fuck it. But do not trust anything you hear on election night. Please, 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 please. Ronnie, Court, and Ryan are going to be covering on election night. I don't know how the hell they're going to do that because
lots of whiskey. Yeah,
I am going to be at work. I am logging off and cutting on my PlayStation or playing my piano. I don't want any parts of looking at it because 2016 traumatized me, and I refuse. Like people are saying, "Oh, you can trust the polls. 2016 was an anomaly." I'm like, bull.
No,
shit.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I remember I went home from work. I stopped at like the Publix by me, and I got like a frozen pizza to throw in the oven. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna watch a little bit of this. And then so like I kept going back and forth TV and be like, oh, okay, Hillary's winning. That's cool. And I go back to what I was doing. And then slowly, as the night kept going on, I was like, oh no.
And you kept hoping some of these states would turn blue, and they kept and eventually I was like, fuck it, I'm going to bed. I can't deal. I woke up the next morning and saw a truck full of rednecks with Confederate flags driving through my neighborhood, hooting and hollering. And I was like, oh, I can't do 4 years of this. So for my own mental health, I'm not doing it. Ronnie, you're a braver man than I. Because
what can I say? Yeah.
I want to know the funniest thing I seen this week at work. I was getting off the elevator and I seen this man coming in. He had a "Make America Great" hat on. He had a Trump 2020 mask, Trump 2020 shirt. This motherfucker had an oxygen tank traveling behind him. I'm like, you're about to fucking die, and he's gonna be the reason you die, but you're gonna vote for him in spite of this because you don't fucking know no better. I just got off the elevator, laughed, and went to lunch, bro.
Because they don't care if they lose as long as we don't win. That is basically how they operate.
That's the strategy.
As someone said about Vietnam, you cannot defeat an enemy who believes that they are right. And these people do not care that he is stupid. They do not care that he is inept. They don't care that he's costing them jobs and money. All they care about is that black people and liberals are not getting anything from it. So they're willing to die so that these rich billionaires can keep being rich billionaires as long as don't nobody that don't look like them or think like them win either.
They don't even care that they got left in the cold in Nebraska.
No.
Yeah. Oh, I was laughing my ass off at that shit. That shit was fucking hilarious.
I was like, how much more on the nose do we have to be? This man literally and figuratively left you out in the cold.
Yes,
and
he bust people into a rally. Could not pay because the campaign is allegedly cash strapped right now. Could not pay for the buses to get those people back to their cars and got on Air Force One and left. So all these
I don't know what to tell y'all.
And dying in the cold, and this motherfucker comfy on Air Force One, and these idiots still gonna vote for him. Gangbanging don't have an age.
Korea.
Smoking that coke, doing that coke.
Yo,
the video
I forgot that we discovered that this year because so long.
Look, murder hornets came and went. Australia being on fire, totally forgot about that. Like, you know how much shit we don't forgot from this year?
California was on fire, and we forgot about that.
So
Kobe died. That seemed like last year.
Oh man,
that with Bozeman, like that was a couple months ago, and that still feels like That feels like it was last year or some shit. Like, it's ridiculous. But anyway, we got anything else?
No, I think that's it, man. Outkast is the greatest ever. Listen to Stankonia, relive the good times.
Do that. Yep. Check out the election miniseries. Excuse me. Tuesday, going live. And that's no longer a miniseries. That's the new thing. Don't call it a podcast. The podcast about politics and politics as usual. The podcast about not politics.
Yeah, as you can see, we're great when it comes to branding. So
yeah, if only we had thought of this a couple years ago when we were coming up.
You guys are great at branding. So
this is true. Get your KWC. Mine's in my kitchen. I can't get up and get it.
I gotta get some Jameson first before I can drink anything out of it. So.
It's the only way. It's the only way.
I haven't bought liquor in a month, and I haven't been drinking. But also, are we going live Sunday or Monday for the Mandalorian?
Sunday. So Sunday 7 Central. We'll be covering the Mandalorian.
All right. So yeah, Sunday we're going live to do the Mandalorian. You can watch Courtney thirst over both Giancarlo Esposito and who the dude playing
Pedro Pascal, who is in a mask.
Pedro Pascal, who's in a mask the entire time.
She was like, I could just feel the aura though.
yeah. Like, so you can watch Court be extremely filthy. Hopefully I'll have my account back by then. But yeah, we're going live. Fee, you got anything to plug?
No.
Joe, you got anything to plug?
No, actually, hey, yeah. Go ahead, Joe. I can get it after this.
Yeah, just check out my Twitter account it's just spelled out right here at JoeCo2. I'm getting back into the groove of posting stuff for the DIY artists. I kind of needed to take a break from that, and now I'm kind of like, okay, well, I don't know. My creativity runs in weird spurts where I'm like, I've been off. Like today was a day off from work, and I was like, I'm not going to do anything. And then all these ideas started flooding in. I was like, yeah, of course, being a creative is exhausting. So yeah, check that out. I have an idea that I'm going to be doing where it's going to be like a weekly roundup or bi-weekly roundup anyway of like marketing advice that artists can use, and then featuring like a musical guest on there. So
subscribe to his Patreon as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well worth it. There's free game on there. Google Analytics shit, people. Stuff you'd have to take classes to get. Go ahead, Fee.
Oh, I just said follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/FeeFresh, all one word. I'll be on there cussing niggas out in the rec while we playing 2K. I am the point guard.
He does.
And if you sell my shit, I will cuss you out.
He does. That is not limited.
Other than that, that's all I have.
We might need to Twitch Thanksgiving because for the first time in our adult lives, me and Fee have to fend for ourselves on Thanksgiving. So the Phoenix brothers are doing Thanksgiving, so this should be fun. My mom's working, and
I'm gonna be cooking, and I'm gonna be cooking, and he gonna be playing music, reminiscing about the old days.
We have a system. We it's been this way since. I'm gonna help cook. I can cook some shit. Once we figure out what the menu is, hey, we can do some wings. We can do some mini wings. I can whip them shits up. But anyway, till next time, same bat time, same bat channel. Go vote. Encourage others to vote. Help people however you can vote. Be kind to others. Except these black rappers going taking pictures with Trump. Shit on them. But other than that, we'll catch y'all next time.